There's good news regarding Christian Eriksen, that he is awake and that he's stable. He's in hospital after collapsing on the pitch during Denmark's game against Finland in their opening Euro 2020 game. It happened just before half-time. Extremely worrying scenes, but this is the best picture we could possibly be seeing right now of the player sitting up. He is awake. He had been surrounded by his teammates who were making sure that nobody really could see what was happening as he was receiving treatment from the medics, who were very, very quick to go and tend to him, of course, with a defibrillator. They were administering CPR. Things did not look good at that moment. I think everybody that had their eyes on their screens, those in the stadium, and of course his partner, and I'm sure family and friends as well, who are watching, absolutely distraught about what they were seeing, will be feeling slightly more relieved about this. And the Danish FA have tweeted, along with UEFA as well, the Danish football unit, they said he's awake, and UEFA had confirmed, this is the official information, and this was posted just a short time ago, the last sentence being the most important. The player has been transferred to the hospital and has been stabilised, and they said following the medical emergency involving Denmark's player Christian Eriksen, a crisis meeting has taken place with both teams and match officials, and further information will be communicated at 19:45. Well, we have Brian Swanson, who has literally rushed into the studio, rushed on to set here to speak to us about what we've just seen here. Really shocking scenes, really worrying scenes. I mean, thankfully, we're looking at pictures of a man who is sitting up. He's awake, he's in hospital. But this is not what you want to see, is it, Brian?
Hayley, this is a desperately distressing situation. It's always tempting to stray into speculation. We cannot speculate right now, but what we can do is deliver you the news that has come a short time ago from the Danish Football Union, saying that Christian Eriksen is awake and is undergoing further examinations. UEFA saying that he had been transferred to hospital and has been stabilised. We are expecting a further update from the Federation and from UEFA any time now to provide an update in terms of Christian's welfare and well-being and what happens involving the football, which of course at this moment in time is second in everyone's thoughts after what we witnessed during that match, the shocking scenes that you just saw, the reaction on the pitch from Christian's teammates, from his opponents, from the supporters. But then we are now beginning to see what we hope is positive news. The photograph that we saw there that was published with Christian eyes open. Again, we have to watch. We don't want to speculate about his health. We need to wait for the experts to come out and tell us exactly how he is right now. But this is good news, that he has been awake, that he has been stabilised. And that certainly will be a huge beacon of hope for the supporters, for the fans, for the teammates, for Christian's friends and family as we wait for this further update to come. But yeah, just a desperately distressing situation, Hayley. Awful to see, awful to watch, whether you're watching on television or listening on the radio. And just football is in shock at the moment. Everyone is in shock, and we are all hoping that there will be further good news to come.
It does give you a reminder of what happened with it. Brought us all in the newsroom who were just stood aghast at what we were watching around here. It was deathly quiet of Fabrice Muamba, who thankfully came through this. He was resuscitated, of course, from a doctor who was in the crowd, who came onto the pitch and helped. And he's tweeted a message of support as well for Eriksen, just saying, you know, please God, and all these prayers that have been flooding through from many clubs and from him look like at the moment they are helping the situation. What has helped the situation is from Fabrice Muamba being brought back to life, it was at White Hart Lane, the discussion about defibrillators being used in football and how important they have become.
Of course, inevitable comparisons with what happened to Fabrice Muamba. It was certainly something that I thought of immediately when I saw what was unfolding. The good news from Christian Eriksen's perspective is that he has had the best possible medical care as quickly as possible. UEFA, FIFA, every governing body of every game, nowadays ensures that the most appropriate medical attention is given to players as quickly as possible. So he has been given the best possible chance of survival. And we are all clinging on to those initial statements. The fact he is awake, he has been stabilised. This is good news. What we need to wait for is the further developments, and in this rolling news culture that we're in, the temptation is always to stray into speculation. We're not doing that. We're waiting for the official messages, the official statements that are coming from the medical authorities, from the associations, from UEFA, before we say too much on this. But certainly what we saw, Hayley, was that incredible show of solidarity from his teammates. We saw the protective huddle they put around Christian Eriksen at the time to preserve and protect his dignity and his privacy at this time. And then we saw the photograph emerge of him coming off, eventually being taken off the pitch, and the fact that his eyes were open. That has given so much hope to people that then followed the statements regarding his the fact that he's awake, the fact that he has been stabilised. So stay with us. We are expecting an update very shortly. The authorities did say they would provide an update at around 1:45. So we are just waiting now for a further comment from the Danish Football Union and from UEFA in what has been such an unsettling couple of hours, hasn't it?
Speaking of which, you can't even imagine what was going through the minds of these players. Football doesn't matter. Who cares? The game cancelled. That doesn't matter. They're going to have to play again, you'd presume. How, as a player, obviously the thoughts are with Christian Eriksen now, not on the next game, not on the tournament, but how do you try and get over this from what you've seen? This is traumatic.
Hugely traumatic, and first and foremost, the absolute priority is to ensure that Christian Eriksen is in the best possible place, receiving the best possible care with the best possible survival rate. That is the priority. Nothing else matters. What will then be happening at the moment with UEFA and the Danish Union is they will be discussing the what next. And it feels crass to talk about it so soon, but there needs to be some logistical decisions made. Yeah. And of course, we need to speak to the players. They'll need to speak to the players to find out how what frame of mind they are in.
Will they do that with that duty of care?
Absolutely, have a duty of care to the players. Yeah. And that's something that I think it's too soon
from
to
both
comment
sides
on.
as well.
Absolutely. And not just them, but we saw. So Danish FA saying that he is awake and undergoing tests, that is a huge positive. But look at the impact it's had. You'll see the England camp. You see his former Tottenham teammates with Harry Kane. You know, this is a player, a hugely popular figure in a competition at the moment. So of course this is going to have a major impact on that, because rightly everyone at the moment is just focusing on Christian Eriksen's health and welfare, and hopefully he can pull through, and hopefully he is in the best possible care for that to happen.
Yeah, and just to confirm as well, we had been saying that we were going to be hearing from Gareth Southgate, Harry Kane, as England were holding a press conference. That's obviously not going to happen. They're in the not right frame of mind to be doing that. You wouldn't expect them to be doing that after this. So the English FA had released the information to confirm that. You had just mentioned there, of course, Brian was saying about Harry Kane, former teammate of Christian Eriksen, very good friends, partners, I believe, good friends as well, who will be hugely affected by this. So many people.
What we're seeing now, Hayley, is huge messages of support from around football. We've got Inter Milan saying, Forza Chris, all of our thoughts are with you. We've got Arsenal saying, we're thinking of Christian Eriksen, his family tonight, wishing you all the best in your recovery, Christian. So football is coming together, as it always does, in such a desperately sad circumstance. But let's look at the positives tonight, Hayley. And the positives at the moment are that Christian Eriksen is awake, he is being stabilised, and there is hope tonight after those very upsetting scenes that we saw on the pitch, the scenes of shock, the reaction and disbelief from his teammates, from his opponents, from the supporters. At least now, UEFA and the Danish Football Union have come out and said that he is undergoing further examinations tonight. And we're just waiting for a further update as to the state of his health. And what's secondary to this, but what will be still a factor in the UEFA European Championships, is what happens on the pitch to those fixtures. Yeah,
absolutely. And there's a fixture coming up. There is team news that has just dropped for Belgium against Russia. So we're an hour away from kick-off in that one. So presumably this one is going ahead. we'll figure out exactly what's going to happen there. We shall leave you for now, Brian. Thank you very much indeed. We've got plenty more on this in the next hour, and I think the only thing that remains to be said really is just Christian Eriksen, you're in the thoughts and prayers of everybody.